Hey guys, it's the Coaster Battleman here, bringing you an interesting video about Michigan's adventure. The east side of the park does not have really that much except for a train ride that goes to the southeast part of the park and northeast. So I could imagine Michigan's adventure modifying that side for the people that want to walk to Shivering Timbers from Thunderhawk or maybe the water park, going on a different route instead of going around. I think this route would probably help the park a lot, and what attractions could be added in this eastern area of the park. But I'm not talking about like the southern part by the main entrance where Mad Mouse is, or the west side where Zack Zoomer is, or the midway where Corkscrew is. I'm specifically talking about the eastern section of the park. Before they modify the east side of the park, I could see one thing happening to the Wolverine Wildcat, which is one of their 3 wooden coasters, and it's pretty rough and pretty jerky. I've rode it before once, and it was very rough, and I didn't ride it again for the rest of the day when I was at Michigan's Adventure in 2015. So I could imagine Wolverine Wildcat being RMC'd before this major expansion happens. Wolverine Wildcat would become probably the second best or the best coaster at Michigan's Adventure, behind or in front of Shivering Timbers. My next option is that Michigan's Adventure will make a new pathway that goes from the northeast corner of the park to the southeastern corner. Now, they do have a train ride, but that carries a certain capacity per hour, so I could imagine them making a massive pathway that could lead people next to Wolverine Wildcat all the way to the southeastern part of the park by Shivering Timbers and to the northeastern part of the park by Thunderhawk. Okay, before I talk about this Pentagon-like pathway thing, in a few minutes, I'm going to talk about this path right here, which is the path that will go past Wolverine Wildcat. It's currently unavailable, I think, but I could imagine them modifying it with some cement that could last pretty long. All the way by the Wildcat Grill, it could go all the way up to the Thunderhawk roller coaster and around here by this Grand Rapids water ride, I think. And it would improve traffic flow to Shivering Timbers and many attractions over in this area of the park, like a few family rides and this water ride right here. It'd be a good fit for Michigan's Adventure, and it would improve traffic flow going to certain attractions. My next option is to make a massive pentagon-shaped pathway that goes around Thunderhawk. Same thing that I said a few moments earlier. I was going to talk about this pathway a few minutes after I talked about the previous option, and I think this pathway would improve traffic flow for people that would want to bypass Thunderhawk and get to a certain attraction in the southeastern part of the park, like Shivering Timbers. Instead of going on the outside to the inside, they could go on the inside first. Now, Thunderhawk is pretty close to the lake, but not entirely close to the lake. There's a pathway right here, as you can see. It goes around Thunderhawk, and it could go to this intersection of walkways right here to get to the walkway past Wolverine Wildcat. The fences could be destroyed that lead to this pathway, and it could be one massive pentagon, and I think a lot of people would go around instead of going all the way around over here, instead of riding this water ride here or Thunderhawk. They could just go through this area here. I can imagine this part of the park being called East Side Thrills. This would be an interesting fit for Michigan's Adventure because it would be the most thrilling spot of the park. Next thing they should do is to relocate the train route. The train route is good, but it could block the major attractions that would go in that East Side Thrills section. Let me show you on Google Maps. Okay, so the train route is going in a good pathway, but maybe they should make the route turn more towards this track here, and then the train could make a turn and then just go straight instead of curving around, so there could be more room for new attractions, and then turn over here like it usually does to the train stop, and then instead of turning like all the way over there, which could possibly make room for less attractions, they could just have the train route go straight and then have a turn probably around this area where I'm pointing. Yeah, somewhere like right here. And this would be a good fit for Michigan's Adventure and give them more room to add more thrilling attractions and more family attractions. And I think they should get a drop tower or a Huss Frisbee. It could be about 150 feet tall, because Michigan's Adventure is a smaller park. They could use a smaller drop tower, like 150 feet tall, maybe even a Huss Frisbee, because those are fun attractions. And they should also add a 4D dark ride, like the Plants vs. Zombies dark ride at Carowinds, or a Triotech dark ride, like Wonder Mountain's Guardian at Canada's Wonderland. And my next option is a GCI wooden coaster. I would imagine if Michigan's Adventure would to go for the gold and become the wooden coaster capital of the world, or Cedar Fair tried to do that with Michigan's Adventure, give them a few more notable coasters like RMCing the Wolverine Wildcat, retracking Shivering Timbers. GCI can retrack Shivering Timbers. But their gap with their wooden coasters is that they don't have a GCI wooden coaster. And these coasters have curved drops and fun ejector airtime hills and insane turns. So I could imagine this GCI going into where I pointed out a few minutes ago, and it would be a good fit for Michigan's Adventure. I could imagine this GCI going in this land in between where the train currently is now. And if they wanted to make the GCI a bit larger, they could use the lake. It could have a water interaction, which would be an interesting fit. And overall, I think this GCI wooden coaster would be amazing. This next option is kind of odd, and I could imagine them getting a B&M sit-down looping coaster or a B&M stand-up coaster to replace their Grand Rapids water ride, but they can relocate it to some other part of the park that's not really landlocked really at all, which could be the East Side Thrills section. So they can have 9 roller coasters if this happens, with the GCI coming, RMCing Wolverine Wildcat, and this sit-down looping coaster. They could have 9 roller coasters and truly have a great coaster collection, or a few very notable additions. And obviously, they would have family rides. Before I end the video, I'm going to talk about Michigan's Adventure's notable coasters after this thing is done. They would have a nice major flat ride, or 2, possibly depending on how much land they use. And there's land over here that could be used, possibly in a future expansion project to make the park even bigger. I could imagine seeing that happening. And Michigan's Adventure would have 3 very good wooden coasters: an RMC hybrid, Wolverine Wildcat, a GCI wooden coaster, and Shivering Timbers if they were to retrack it by GCI or if it stayed smooth for a very long time. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos.